Alrighty, welcome along. So we're a little bit late for the start day today, but that's okay because nobody's joining me online. So we're just going to do this as a recording. I wanted to start going into some of the research papers that come out and just help you a bit with guiding your path through gaining further education, if you like. Um, and I picked this one as a start because Scott A. Johnson is really well known. I need to fix his name actually on that, looking at that screen at the moment. It's Scott A. Johnson, not Johnston. And he's really well known in the essential oil aromatherapy side of things in terms of his research. But from what I can see, he's reviewing a lot of other people's research and then putting his own knowledge in at the background. And we can actually all do that. So I want to teach you that today. And I also want to have a bit of a read through the paper and help you to see the link between the bitter orange and cognitive function. Now, bitter orange is also can also be known as neroli, but bitter orange extract, citrus aurantium is the botanical name. And what we're looking at is an essential oil in particular. But the study and some of the other studies that I'll show you also talk about a constituent which has been copied and turned into a dietary supplement, if you like. So I tend to like to talk about essential oils because they're not just pulling out one compound or one constituent and saying that that's what works. Because when you've been around aromatherapy and essential oils for quite a while, or even just a little while, you will understand that it is actually the whole that helps, not just the single component or the single constituent. However, in the world of science and modern medicine, they like to be able to narrow things down and understand what is that one thing that's making that difference. So, yeah, we'll have a look at it, right? We know that bitter orange, we know that the majority of the citruses are antioxidant. We also know that they will help us, especially grapefruit, with blood sugars. And they are quite good with helping us to brighten our skin and to, yeah, lift our mood as well. So let's begin. The first thing I want you to understand before we jump into that research paper is the hierarchy of evidence. Okay, I just Googled this because I wanted to just show you a plain language version of something that is probably well known in the academic world, but not so well known out in the general public. And that is how we actually look at the, um, what would you say, the ranking, how we rank research papers, right? Or how we rank information that's being provided to us. And I want you to look at this, right? And I'm going to explain it to you. So, the opinion of experts. Now, that's something that has happened a lot in the world over the last few years. A lot of us have relied on the opinion of an expert. Um, as you can see, that's actually the bottom of the pyramid, the hierarchical pyramid. In vitro research is laboratory research. So that's in a petri dish, right? Or it's looking at it inside a lab. You will see some of that in the news, and you will see some of that sort of stuff referred to in the studies that we look at as well, and in any other research papers that you read about, because often where all of this sort of documentation and information comes from is a laboratory. So we're looking at in vitro as a second level, but obviously not the best, right? The best um, evidence to pull for yourself is systematic reviews or meta-analysis. And I don't know, I actually feel more comfortable looking at random controlled trials. Meta-analysis is something that I do myself when I start to go and pull all the papers together, basically. That's what a meta-analysis is. But if we go up the chain, right, animal research, I really don't like this aspect of it. I shared something about an article the other day that is really, really good, but, they tested this random thing on a tropical fish. Like, why would you do that? I don't know. Why do we have beagles in laboratories for perfumes and makeup companies and that sort of shit and cleaning products and things? Why are we still testing on animals? But that's my bugbear, okay? So animal research is not that high either. Why? because ideally what they're sharing with you, they want to test on this animal, this human animal, right? And so we go. So cohort studies, control studies, sectional studies, they're all talking about, and random controlled trials, that's when it hits the human population as such, okay? So when you are starting to read through, use your diligence and discernment when you're looking at articles, and try to find one that groups everything together so that you can get a snapshot or an overview, and then drill down and have a look for the random controlled studies. So that's that first thing. The second thing that I wanted to show you in terms of research, and I won't have this talk go for very long, is something called Google Scholar, right? So everyone knows to go to Dr. Google. I'm going to Google that. Depending on which doctor, general practitioner you go and hang out with, some of them are going to take that really well and some of them are not going to take it very well at all, because Google lets anybody write anything that they want, right? Bottom of that research pyramid is experts. Lots of experts. We're all experts at different things. So Google Scholar has the published articles. Now, there's a lot of really good information out there that is unpublished. There's private researchers that do a lot of work as well. They've got a lot of data. They've actually done trials and testing and that sort of stuff, but they're choosing not to publish their work for whatever reason. Generally, when a document is published or a research paper is published, it can be peer reviewed. That's what you want. Anyway, so Google Scholar, you just type in Google Scholar, it will come up with the options. Then you can type in what you want up the top. So you see here I've done cognitive function, bitter orange, and it will bring up all of the articles relating to that. Now, I mean all of them, okay? You can go have a look at anything that you want. Working through academia, it's always good to know that you can set a date range, because sometimes they want you to look for articles within the last 10 years, but maybe you might want to go back to the last 20 or 30 years. You can do that. Sort it by date. You can include patents or you can just include citations. So I often include citations so I can go have a look at different stuff. Anyway, so here we are. All right. What I will point out to you on this page, if you go and look at this yourself as well, before we jump into our one article, there is a lot of information on bitter orange extract. They've really wanted to look into it because if you have a look here, this P-cyanophrine, is the constituent, right? That's them breaking it down to the chemical component. And they wanted to do that obviously so that they can produce something on the other side of it. So when you have a look at these sort of papers where they talk about that, so you see it again here, that's them breaking it into tablets that you can chew on or things you can spray up your nose or whatever, right? A drink, right? There's a drink there. The other thing too is that they're combining it with caffeine in a lot of these cases, so it's very interesting. Anyway, this article is good. The effect of aromatherapy with bitter orange extract on anxiety and fatigue in type 2 patients. So when we go and discuss cognitive function, right, it's a lot on there, okay? It actually works really well with obesity and overweight side of things, just as a side. The reason I mentioned petitgrain too is because petitgrain also shares some constituents like linalool and limonene and things that have been linked to helping the brain and the body, especially with hypertension. So, what do I want to talk to you about? What have we got here? Oh, that's how to look things up. Okay. This article in particular, so this is the one that was linked in the research paper, I'm pretty sure. Yep. Okay, so PubMed, when you're looking at this research thing, you will find PubMed articles sit in the case control studies and cohort studies. So this little graph is not too bad for that as well. Cohort studies, case controlled studies, PubMed, and these are some of the other websites that you can go to get information. Critically appraised sources, that's what I'm talking about in terms of peer reviewed and systemic reviews and stuff like that. That's where you get a little bit more information. PubMed tends to be your place to go to, but right, so that's where this article's listed, and then you can explore it from there. What are we looking for? We want to look at what they're talking about. So they talk about the methods of extraction first, and this is one of the reasons why it works in terms of the cognitive function, because cognitive is brain, right? We know that, but brain can be impacted by a number of things. You could have brain fog and things like that because of gut issues, because there's that big gut-brain connection, which there's books on that too. Or it could be that you've got brain issues because maybe you've got a misfiring in the wiring. Maybe you have a plaque buildup happening up there. Maybe you've got lesions happening, like maybe you've gotten a dose of the bug that's been floating around for the few years and it has left you with fatigue, for example. So that anxiety and fatigue article, that might be something that you go have a read of. But cognitive function is quite broad because you don't always know what it is that is causing it, but you want to be able to work with the whole brain itself. So the brain is like a cauliflower thing that fills our skull, and it's the body's control center. It's the most vital organ for everyday life. But if you look at Chinese medicine and stuff, it's not classified as an organ. It's actually linked to the kidneys. So the brain, spinal cord, and peripheral nerves make up the central nervous system, which directs, coordinates, and regulates voluntary, which is our conscious, and our involuntary processes. Sensory nerves throughout the body constantly gather information from the environment, send it to the brain via the spinal cord. The brain rapidly interprets the data and responds by sending messages with motor neurons to the rest of the body. Short version. So sometimes our brain gets overloaded, okay? And it gets overloaded because of chemicals and toxin. It gets overloaded because of exposure to trauma, overexposure to trauma, where it's got to function really fast. And in the majority of cases, it needs a bit of a reset. And that's where your bitter orange can help. So the bitter orange that I work with is steam distilled. You can get information on this as well. So these GC-MS analysis, that's a test that a lot of companies will run. All three extraction methods, the major constituent was the limonene, like I mentioned, but there's also linalool. Linalool works amazingly in terms of calming the nervous system. But anyway, we're looking at limonene, and the limonene is what they have found to assist the brain, the cognitive function, okay? So then if you read through, you can go and have a look at the reports and all that sort of jazz if you want to, but you can actually go, that will take you straight to the article as well. Now, where was I reading this before? I might have been reading it in a different source. Excuse me for one moment. Okay. Alrighty, so this is the full paper. So what I've done is just click through the link onto the DOI, that's your depository side of things. So the intro is always going to tell you a whole heap of stuff about where you're getting it from and those sort of things. These little numbers here will link you to a reference at the end. So you can go, if you are interested in citrus essential oils for their anti-cancer property, you can click on that and it will take you to the research for that, right? So you can see there, against breast cancer. Antibacterial, click on that one. It's going to talk to you about oh, cool, Egyptian navel orange. So that's probably closer to the one that we're using, so antibacterial side of things. But then if we go back up the top, again, I like research papers because they link you to the source, and then you can go have a look at that as well, right? Anti-diabetic, antifungal. This talks about how they actually did it. Okay, so remember the ones that I work with is steam distilled. Can't say where this paper actually came from or what essential oil they were testing it on, but they do talk to you about, the identification of the components and that sort of stuff. My advice is to not go too far into that unless you really want to, because a majority of us out in the real world don't really pay much attention to that. Alrighty. talking more about what they're finding. So the antioxidant component of it is how it helps the brain. We want to get in there. Antioxidants help to get rid of free radicals. So it's the higher radical scavenging activity that we're most interested in terms of that. And then this is where they'll let you know it's linked to the linalool side of it. I hope that you actually find this interesting in terms of pulling research papers apart. This is how I tend to do it anyway. All of the tested essential oils demonstrated antioxidant activity with some variation. Numerous studies exploring the chemical constituent and bioactivity of different oils have consistently reported robust radical scavenging. In the current study, the EOs were primarily composed of monoterpene hydrocarbons, notably limonene, and the antioxidant properties of limonene have been previously documented. So that's your research for those ones, right? And to hold over the top of that, talking about neurotoxicity, like I said to you, right? It's limonene is the big thing. The second one's talking about the biotransformation. The third one there is more of a overall focus on health. Okay, so that first article is the one for you if you're looking for how it works in terms of neurotoxicity. Suggests the primary components of the oil of the peel are monoterpene hydrocarbons such as limonene. That's why it's really good to use citrus oils that are steam distilled cold pressed, if you like, because that's where they're pulling it from. The interesting thing with doTERRA, because that's the company that I align with, that the neroli oil for them is the flower. It's steam distilled from the flower. So we want to have a look at that sort of stuff too. But anyway, that's not for today. So how does it work in terms of cognitive function? They're focusing on the Alzheimer's disease management side of it, which is really important because when I talked about plaque before, read between the lines. It's potentially what I'm talking to you about. Don't worry about all your big words unless you really, really want to go into them, or you are, someone who's in that headspace. Previous studies have demonstrated bioactive compounds found in plants play a significant role in inhibiting those aforementioned enzymes. So these are enzymes which are linked to Alzheimer's disease, right? Compounds found in plants play a significant role in inhibiting these aforementioned enzymes. We've got to clear the brain out, guys. We've got to clear out the system. We want to help the system to not build up the stuff that creates the neurotoxicity and then results in the other issues. And know that inhalation is one of the best ways to bring this into your brain to assist it, right? It's still talking about they're talking about the pharmaceuticals because a big part of research paper is to get funding to make drugs, basically. God knows, not enough people are going to watch this anyway for me to get in trouble for speaking so freely, but that's all good. A study involving 13 different EOs and their volatile flavour constituents revealed significant tyrosinase inhibitory activity. Citrus species reported to reduce expression level of tyrosinase, suggesting their efficient inhibition of melanogenesis. If you want to know what melanogenesis is, go and have a look and you'll find it. The conclusion in this particular paper is your focus, for me anyway, is the focus on the Alzheimer's disease, right? You want to start to learn about Alzheimer's disease and what it actually is. That's where you'll find that this article links into the cognitive function. But how does bitter orange help with cognitive function overall, right? Let's just go back to that to remember. The way that it helps overall is that it helps us with clearing away or reducing the impact of radicals that are running around everywhere, right? That's the primary way. So it's helping us with that antioxidant side of things is my understanding of it and is the way that I look at it. The other thing that it's doing, but at the same time, is it's helping us with our mood, because citrus oils, there's a lot of research behind helping us with our moods and with our energy. If you think about when you smell lemon, fresh lemon, it does really reset your mind. Lemon assists you with clear focus, and it's a citrus, right? It's got high levels of limonene too. Now, bitter orange can also be used to assist you with your cortisol levels when they're too high, because again, when hormone stuff is happening and our body is out of balance, not in homeostasis, so we're out of balance, what you'll find is that cortisol levels will spike. A lot of this triggers inflammation in the system, in the whole system, not just one part of our system, but in our whole system, because it's all connected. And that inflammatory response as a result of an unbalance in hormones or stress or trauma or whatever results in damage on the inside to the cells and stuff like that. And then we can know that using citrus essential oils will assist us in clearing the damage that's there, right? Because your body never stays the same. In every moment of time, it's changing. Every little cell's dying, being reborn, reproduced, eaten up to be used as something else. Like, it's crazy to think that we stay the same, because we don't. Bitter orange or the citrus aurantium is also really good for wrinkling and damaged skin. Again, right? It's that antioxidant side of it. It's going to help you with blood pressure and blood sugar concerns. You can use it on over your chest area, back of your neck, forehead, bottom of your feet. Pettigrain is also really good for that. Part of that is because it calms down the system, and then at the same time, it's helping to clean up what's happening in there. It is also really, really good in terms of assisting you with fungal issues. So you would have seen antifungal up further in that article, and that helps with things like, maybe athlete's foot or something. Think about fungus stuff, right? Put it on. What else do I want to mention? How does it work in the brain in terms of overthinking, overwhelm, confusion, tension, headaches, that sort of stuff? Diffuse it. How do we get things into our brain apart from people injecting stuff? The way that you can get different things into your brain is to smell them. And if they are a molecule which the blood-brain barrier will understand and recognize, they will allow them to pass through that barrier, right? When you are using essential oils, you're using good essential oils, therapeutic, pure essential oils. What you're getting is a product which is a bio product that the brain recognizes, because it's also bio, right? It's bio recognizing bio. This is why I'm super careful with people that purchase $2 shop oils, or oils that are of unknown origin, I guess, or oils that you can't go and check the actual tests on to know whether they've been adulterated or cut with something else or changed, or, that sort of stuff. Because what you put on your skin and what you inhale really changes your body's dynamics. So the best way to use them, in my mind, to support cognitive function is inhalation or diffusion. And you can do that by making them into an air freshener or a room spray. Put them on your mattress with a room spray, okay? You can put them into your bath. You can just spray your room with them all the time, that sort of stuff. Put them in your diffuser, or you can also put them in nebulizers. Some people, okay, let's not go there because we're talking about citrus. So diffusion is via electronic diffuser or a nebulizer. This is going to help you with stress and anxiety. It'll help you with the insomnia side of things, helps you with mood, alertness, going to assist with air purity, and also helps to reduce airborne pathogens. It'll help you with lethargy, and it will also support your respiratory health. Now, why is that so? That's because they're antifungal and antibacterial. You got to get your head around that, guys, and understand that everything around us is a molecule. Everything around us is rocking along and interweaving with us at every moment of every day. And there's information out there now that shows that sometimes the air in your house is more toxic than the air outside of it. You can also use them via steam inhalation. You can put them on a hanky or a cotton ball. You can put it in a little inhaler tube, like those Vicks tubes. If you use it via inhalation, it's going to help you with hormone as well, hormone stuff, as well as your anxiety side of things. Yeah, so get into it. That's how bitter orange helps your cognitive function, right? So I hope that you enjoy this and that you gain something from it. Please reach out if you want to have a chat, and otherwise, yeah, see you again soon for the next video, hey?